So, can I have your name, your full name and job title?
Yeah, totally. Well, my name is Garrett Tansil. I am a specialty barista.
Fancy.
Fancy.
Okay. And then, what brought your attention to this place? What made you want to work here?
So, probably 2 years ago now, when I was hired in, I was actually looking to kind of delve into coffee a little bit deeper. I've always really found my niche once I started working in coffee, just as far as the people, the community that I was working in, the science and the art forms behind the actual work that we were doing. And essentially what really led me to this place was I was kind of trying to find somewhere that I could grow with, that I saw that was really putting focus into their coffee and putting in their focus into a really awesome atmosphere. And that's when I came across this place. And that, like I said, that was probably about 2 years ago. I moved to the Rochester area right around that time. Started bugging Nathan, who you talked to on the phone, the owner of the coffee shop, about getting a job. And in a couple months, with some honing of my coffee knowledge and my latte art skills, I actually ended up getting a spot in here right around December of 2014. So
awesome, cool. Okay, so you mentioned a little bit about the culture, but could you explain the overall culture of this job? Have you had any other jobs that you could compare this to?
Yeah, I've actually worked in multiple different cultures, I guess you could say. Honestly, I've probably worked in almost every aspect, as far as technology, the food industry, the retail industry, as far as clothing, electronics. I've been a musician, I've acted, I've modeled, I've definitely done lots of different things to where I've had lots of different exposures to different communities, I guess, in the workplace. And this one by far is the one that I fell in love with the most, because not only is it a really high energy, sociable community, it's a community where you get to really fall in love with what you're doing, fall in love with the people that you're surrounded by. And I think that's what ended up actually really kicking off this job for me, just the people that I was surrounding myself with, whether it be the clientele or the people that I was working with hand in hand.
Cool. Okay. I worked at Panera in Flint, and I was the barista there.
Gotcha.
But it's really nothing compared to this.
Gotcha.
And so I'm able to compare the two, because this is way different.
It is, yes, much different, even from the other specialty coffee shops, and even from the different second wave to fast food coffee shops that you would call them, whether it being Starbucks or Big B. The atmosphere is entirely different, and so are the people that are coming in as well. So
I did a research paper on Starbucks a couple weeks ago, and it's in preparation to this.
Gotcha.
And the culture there is, all the workers explain it is so bad.
Oh, it was horrible.
Yeah. Have you worked
I
at Starbucks?
I have worked at Starbucks. So I've worked at 4 different coffee shops. I started out in a I can't call it specialty coffee. It wasn't necessarily third wave, but they did delve into direct trade coffee, which is one of the qualifications, I guess, or characteristics that you could call for specialty coffee. So it was a basis job that I started there for about a year while they were still in Michigan. Fortunately, they liquidated and moved back to California, where they were founded. And then from there, I ended up moving into Starbucks, which I probably worked for 6 to 8 months, depending. I'm honestly not sure, but the culture and the people that actually entered in there, it was very much like working a restaurant or working in a fast food establishment. There's nothing enjoyable about it, to be totally honest. There's so many different perceived ideas as to where people that work for Starbucks are very taken care of, and unfortunately they're not. It's more so actually to put on for the public to be seen, to kind of boost their morale for their company. To be totally honest, I have a very strong dislike for that company, but they do well. They have an awesome marketing team that can really bring in the masses. They created a community there, just like we're talking about today, and that community is very sought after by millions of people. So I can't knock them there. They definitely know what they're doing when it comes to the marketing aspects. But for coffee and that that tight knit family, loving community, they definitely are lacking on for sure.
Yeah, for sure. You go in and you order something, and they're just like, all right,
Very,
$5.25.
right, very cut and dry.
Yeah.
No, nothing behind it.
So with that being said, do you look forward to coming to work here whenever you do have to work?
I do actually. I actually love being able to just come in, and whether I'm actually working, whether I'm with friends, whether I'm on a date, whether I'm meeting new people, whether I'm coming in to steal the Wi-Fi, it's a never-ending excitement when I get to head into work. I think this is probably the third time I've been at the coffee shop today, and it's only 2:30, and then I'm going to be coming back later after this is finished, and I go back home to grab some food, work out, and come back for my actual position, my shift. And so it like I said, it's became a second home. If not, this is actually probably where my heart lies the most, even past my apartment. So it's the people that I'm around. It's really familiarizing myself with the atmosphere, the people that I actually get to come encounter with that come into the coffee shop. So it's definitely, yeah.
Cool. Is this job stressful in any ways?
It can be, absolutely, 100%. It's well, if you want to look at it in a factual sense, it is the second highest selling commodity in the world under oil, and as far as it is the second second drink that's the most consumed, most consumable drink underwater. So there's a huge
Expectation.
Yes, expectation for it, and everyone drinks coffee. There's very, very few people that don't actually drink coffee, and for the fact that we're a specialty coffee shop and we're supposed to have a higher level of knowledge to our coffee bases, and as far as what we're doing from farm to cup, not only that, whether it's the knowledge base, the roasting aspects, the actual extraction aspects, or the actual art aspects of the coffee, we are seen as to be a higher quality for all of those things. And not only that, we are also probably one of the busiest coffee shops also that I've personally been to in Michigan. So it's just constantly keeping up with the pace of the coffee shop, getting to know new people, constantly keeping up with the coffee market, constantly keeping up with the new trends that coffee shops are coming out with, whether it's a nitro cold brew, which we don't necessarily see fit here, but there are constantly things, like I said, coming out, whether it's a new coffee, whether it's a new brewing method, whether it's a coffee plummet in the market, whether it's world news happening in Colombia, or there's crisis here, there's crisis there. There's so many different things that you really have to keep up on. So it's definitely a full-time job in itself, and a lifestyle. It's something that people don't actually recognize. They just see, oh yeah, it's a really fun, cool place to work while you're getting your college degree. There's an actual entire profession and job site for people that really fall in love with the community, like I said, in the culture.
All right. So you said there's like very high standard to the kind of coffee that you have.
Yes.
And then there's art, obviously, latte art.
Right.
Do you think that this job can serve as a creative outlet in any way?
It can. Yeah. There's a lot of creative influences that we deal with on a daily basis, whether it be the musicians that come in, whether we're dealing with the latte art aspects. It's the only art form that we're actually using, anyway, that I know of, that we're using two different fluids that you have to manipulate. So it's definitely something that is different from any other art form, and it's very difficult to learn. In March, actually, some of the baristas here and the owner are going to be heading over to Nashville to actually compete in what we call a latte art competition.
Wow.
And it's a huge event that a bunch of baristas from not only the nation, but even some people that are coming from all over the world are coming to actually just compete in this specific event. So it's definitely has a lot of creative aspects, latte art being one of them, music being one of them, the actual marketing forms, I guess you could say, whether it being the actual coffee shop in itself, the design of the coffee shop, or the branding of the coffee shop, things of that nature. There's lots of aspects that people don't see as far as the creative natures of the coffee shop.
Do you, are you able to connect with any customers ever? Is there ever, because a lot of people come to a coffee shop kind of as a relaxed hangout study place.
Right.
Are you able to ever get to know anyone?
I am actually, yeah. That was one of the things that I really fell in love with this specific coffee shop. I can't even name how many people that I hang outside of the coffee shop that I've met through the actual coffee shop. Probably at this point in my life, the entirety of people that I hang out with, spend my time with, or come in contact with are all associated with this actual coffee shop. Besides my family, of course, but I've met so many different friends. I've met so many different contacts, connections, just through this one coffee shop. There's a lot of connecting on this level of community that we're at, and especially the coffee world, and that's what I loved about this job is you really connect with almost everyone. We try to, at least. There's some people that are just in and out for their coffee sometimes, but there's even certain nicks that you can actually just kind of get to even create a little tiny ounce of that community, whether it's just remembering their drink or remembering their name, just trying to pull them into that, and you can actually build friendships, relationships, just so many different connections that can be made there. So that was one thing that I loved about the culture as well.
Very cool. Do you have any regulars at all?
Yeah, lots of regulars. I could probably name 10 that have been in today, and that's like first name basis. That's someone that I hang out with outside of work, whether I'm stopping by and grabbing a coffee. I'll sit with them and have their coffee while they're studying, or while they're just grabbing a coffee, or things of that nature. Somewhere like this, it's almost like a local meeting spot, somewhere where they come to spend their time, grab a good cup of coffee, and see friendly faces. So there's a lot of reoccurring customers, a lot of reoccurring friends that I've even past the point of even seeing them as a customer, as to where it's like, oh hey, come hang out at the coffee shop.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that's very high in volume for sure.
Do you have any interesting stories with a customer or a coworker that you could share?
I have lots and lots of stories. Let's see here. What would be a good story to tell? What would be the basis of this story?
It could either just be like relationships with coworkers, like something funny that happened, or any inside jokes, or
Gotcha.
slang of that nature.
As far as coworkers, we have probably reoccurring slang, inside jokes. If you know who Dr. Steve Brule is, it's John C. Reilly, the actor who plays a mentally impaired man that actually has his own show, and it's a legitimate show. Everyone thinks it is anyway. And he will do interviews very much like this with people, and just take it to a whole new level. And you'll see the person is very uncomfortable, or they're very confused. But he has a very specific way he talks, and things that he says are very funny. So we're constantly jumping into that voice, or jumping into a video that we saw on YouTube, or jumping into a different personality from this time that we did this. There's lots of different personality quirks that we go through, or lots of different voices that we're doing. We're constantly in and out of our own self. We're putting on a persona for everyone, which is I like to think is a lot of fun anyway.
Yeah, it makes the day go by.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely make work a little bit easier for us, for sure. So
Yeah.
it's nice. As far as customers, I've had lots of different experiences. There's a couple different customers right now that I'm actually learning Korean through. They are of Korean descent that were born in America, and we just started having friendly conversations that maybe bought their coffee once or twice. And from there on, I expressed my interest in Asian culture in general, whether it be the martial arts aspect, whether it be the history aspect, or just the actual language aspect. And from that, there's actually a couple, if not two or three, that I'm starting. They'll come in the coffee shop every day. I'll grab them a coffee, and they'll give me their Korean word of the day, and I'll write it down in a little booklet that I have and try to memorize it. And every now and then they'll come in and we'll start speaking Korean. I'll take their order in Korean, things of that nature. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's really cool. Do you feel that you have any opportunities to move up in the company, or do you have any knowledge to maybe open your own coffee shop, or do you feel that it's more kind of this is where it ends?
There's always room for growth. That's another reason why I really fell in love with the coffee community and the level that we're at now. There's honestly never really any room to where you stop growing. The owner of the coffee shop, Nate, has done a tremendous job of really bringing this coffee shop to fruition as to where we are today. And there's just so many more goals that we have to meet. There's so many different plans that we have for the future that I'm really excited to see them going places. But it's something that we really will never end. You can always learn more brewing methods. You can always keep pushing your coffee to higher bounds of quality and greatness. There's always new latte art forms to be learned. There's always so many different aspects that we can constantly be growing. There's a book that I'm reading currently. It's the person that's writing the book was a old martial artist. He was one of the founders of Aikido, and the quote said, once we stop growing, initially the quote says, I can't quote it directly off my head.
For sure.
Once growth is stopped, we're no better than dead, I guess. So I like to think that we're going to be constantly growing, and I definitely see that we have the people that really want to push it to a new level of coffee and a new level of community, which I'm excited to see happen. So like I said, there's always room for growth. I definitely see myself growing with this specific company. I don't know if I would want to start my own coffee shop, just because this specific family, this specific community that I fell in love with very much revolves around the people that I'm around right now and the philosophies that we follow.
So you can see yourself working here for a very long time.
Very long time, yeah. I hope that I can grow with the company, like I said. I definitely hope that I am stuck with the people that I'm around for a good long time. Definitely created some lifelong friends, and I hope that we get to all see the end of it, I guess.
Cool. Is there a certain, like, I wouldn't say stereotype, but like demographic of baristas? Like if you were hiring someone, is there a specific person that you're looking for?
Yes, there's definitely multiple different demographics as far as the barista world, I guess you could say. There's actual, in the barista community, there's jokes as to where you have like your specialty, your baristas, your second wave baristas, which are they work more at like your mom and pop coffee shop, where they're not technically specialty coffee, but they're not also a Starbucks or a Big B either. They're kind of in between, but that's kind of like the hipster barista crowd that you would say. And then there's what we call the green aprons, which are the button pushing baristas that like coffee, that really enjoy coffee, but they aren't quite there yet, essentially. So there's definitely multiple different categories of barista that I would say.
say, like when I mentioned that people have this view of coffee shops as a hangout place, do you have a different point of view as a worker? Like when you look out, do you see something different? Or do you still see it as a hangout place?
I totally think it depends on the person. I know multiple people that have either just came here to have a social aspect of their life, meet new friends, come on dates, meet potential relationships, even with just people that they came in contact at the coffee shop. I know people that use it as a workplace, their own workplace. I know multiple different technological engineers where they actually just do all their work off of a computer, and they actually do it here. They'll sit endless hours of the day just working on things on their computer. I knew a couple musicians that would come in, and you'd bring in a keyboard and you would actually record things on his keyboard while just at the coffee shop. I know people that more so use it as kind of their getaway, if you want to say. They come here just to grab their coffee, to relax, to get that sense of community in that whole aspect. And like I said, it just totally depends on the person. It varies from different person to person. And then there's the people that work here, like myself, that actually see it as a home where I'm coming to visit family, as far as whether it be coworkers or clientele. It's so many different things in one, and that's what I love about coffee shops.
All right, that was perfect. Okay, so it's clear that you love coffee.
Yep.
Do you think it's more of an experience or just a drink?
I think it's an experience. Like I said earlier, I think that coffee is a lot more than what people lead it on to be. Some people just see it as 98.2% water and 0.8. My math is horrible, which is funny because I'm a barista, so I'm supposed to be technically good at math.
Would it be 1.8?
Yes, 1.8. 1.8% coffee. Some people just see it as that. Some people see it as what Starbucks kind of leads it off as, like their gift of the day, their thing that they look forward to. And I see it in some sense of that. I always look forward to my cup of coffee in the morning. I don't want to say that people that rely on the caffeine are wrong in any sense, but in my eyes and in some of the people that I work with, most of the people that I work with, see coffee as so much more. There is an entire foundation of coffee that most people don't actually realize, that working with coffee and working in this community, we're actually creating a life for people overseas that are growing these coffee cherries, growing these coffee plants. They thrive. They're able to feed their children, live life, and move forward with things because of what we're doing here in these states or wherever that coffee is being sent out to. So it really is. There's a lot more to coffee. Like I said, I do see it as a caffeine level. Drinking as much coffee as I've came to drink, it's definitely seen as that. It's definitely an enjoyment in my life. It's definitely an art form that I see that I'm constantly working on to better myself and hone my craft in the art form scientific aspect of trying to see how I can make coffee better, trying to see how I can perfect my art, trying to see how I can learn as much about coffee or gain knowledge in what I'm trying to learn. But there's also the whole aspect as well of sustainability in those people that are working overseas. It's a huge thing that is really what they survive off of, to be totally honest. And it's a scary thing just to see that places like Starbucks or places like these other big corporations that have so much bulk that they have to keep raking in lower quality coffee to essentially serve their masses of customers that they do have. But the work that we're doing here as far as direct trade coffee is really what is pushing our bounds to help out those families and those farms and those plantations to have a better sense of living. and I think that's what another thing that made me fall in love with coffee is. It's not just a cup of coffee. It's not just a hangout place. It's not just a delicious dessert that you can look forward to at the end of the day. It's a lifestyle that has created that not only pays my bills but also keeps those people from not having anywhere to live or not having food to eat, kind of thing.
So that can also help you take more pride in your job.
For sure, absolutely. I definitely have a lot of pride in what we're doing. Like I said, we're trying to create sustainability in not only their lives and not only our lives, but for the future of the planet as well. There's a whole other aspect that I won't even get into that could be played off of there as well. But there's constant things that come into the community and the culture of the coffee shop that are just more than a cup of coffee.
Well, I think that's a good note to end on. That was very good.
Awesome.
That was nice. Let me stop this.